Hi guys, this video where the kind people at Daddario have sent me 3 packs of strings to check out, and I just think Daddario strings are the best strings ever. I've used them all my playing life and I just know how great they are. They've got coating on them so it helps stop corrosion, and there's just long life in them. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to show you how to change a string on your guitar. So we're going to look at an acoustic guitar, changing the string. It's the same kind of deal, apart from on the acoustic you twist one way for one side for the first 3 strings and the other way for the other side. So let us just take a look at changing strings on the guitar. So let's get to it. Okay, so what we've got here is I'm going to look at this one, the Daddario Phosphor Bronze, the warm, bright and balanced tone. And I use an extra light gauge, which is what are called 10s. Okay, so the gauge 10 you can get. Usually I use gauge 9 for electrics and 10s for acoustic, but you can go for 11, 12. The higher up the number, I think some of the more kind of higher numbers are like playing a egg slicer. So I quite like the 10s, so I stick with the 10s. They sent me some 10s. They did ask me what kind I wanted, and we have one of these. Now this is a string winder, and basically you don't necessarily need this, but they are great. Because what happens is you've got something to help you pull the pegs out. So if we look here on the guitar, we've got pegs here and they can help. Although to be fair, this is like the least used thing I use, because usually you can just get the pegs out. We have this which goes over the... So basically you can put these over the tuning pegs and you twist them, you wrap it around. You'll see what I'm going to do in a minute. And you don't need to, but it can take ages just to twist and twist and twist. If you're constantly twisting, oh my word, it can just be like, what am I doing? So yeah, I got these, and finally a kind of non-sharp pair of these. They're like cutters, but they're not really sharp, and it just snips away the excess string that you don't need, and you are good to go. Okay, so let's have a look. Now I've got 2 different types of guitars here. We have my little Martin acoustic, and you can see obviously these don't come with a pick guard, so you can see I've been using that. This is the one I usually use as my spare guitar when I'm doing a gig, because if I snap a string in the middle of a gig, I don't want to be having to put a string on straight away. And what I do is I just swap to this one, and it's brilliant. And also an electric guitar, which I just wanted to show you for when you're tuning up the top and which way to go on the tuning pegs. Okay, so I've got a string that needs changing here on this. So I'm going to change all these strings, but I'm not going to make you sit through changing every string. So I'm going to start with this string that needs changing. So the peg has got to come out. Now, like I said before, these things here, like, they're not brilliant at always getting them. Sometimes they do get them, like on them ones. Sometimes the pegs are bigger, but you get that peg out, which is great. And put that to one side. Take out the old string, or however much of left it is, and dispose of that. I usually tie them in a knot, just so they're not kind of like, so it's like more solid. If they're just like a long string, you can kind of lose them, and you're like, where's that string? So, okay, and then we look at these. Now, Daddario, they have a colour coding system. Now, if you have a look on the back here, I've already opened this packet. Now, if you can see, they give you this colour code. So the first string, the thinnest string, is like a grey colour. Then you've got a purple one for second string, green one for third. Fourth one is like a dark grey, 5th one is a red, and 6th one, the thickest string, is a yellow. Now that can be quite handy if you're like, oh, which one's this again, and you're not too sure. Well, you can use this. And also these strings, like I think I said before, they come like with a kind of coating on them, and that really, really does help from like the sweat of your hands, just going on your guitar and just going on the strings, and just the build up, and it starts to wear them away. And it's just nice to have that kind of extra bit of protection on your strings. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the new string. So let's just so I've got the string here, and I'm going to take it around bits, and I'm going to actually put the bit with the loop hole into there. Get that in and get the peg back in. Okay, So get that and just put that in there. And I'm going to take this all the way up the guitar. So I'm kind of doing this hands free, so it's a little bit tricky. And we're going up to here. Now I will be changing all these strings, but I just wanted to kind of show you on this one first. Now if you notice this way, you have this way, one way tightens and one way loosens, and it's the opposite on this side. So let's just have a look. There's a little hole there in your guitar machine head, they call it. I'm going to put that through there, and what I'm going to do is, now there's quite a bit of excess string. You do not need to wind that whole thing around your machine head, the machine head here at the start, because that is just, what happens is sometimes the string slips when it's on there and puts it out of tune more. So what you need is just a little bit of excess. So we've still got quite a bit there going through and a little bit of excess, so I just kind of have it so I'm just a little bit off the neck. Okay, so then I usually put my thumb here because we don't want it wrapping around from the middle. If we can't get it wrapped around at the bottom, if I grab the string winder, so cool, right? And what I'm going to do is, if you look, if I go that way, these ones on this side are going around that way, and then these ones on this side are going around that way. So they go up like that, these ones go up like that. Okay, so if I just do that and I just keep it relatively low and I just get quite a lot in, now I tend to kind of just put that string and bend it a little bit out of the way, and then we'll go. If you're not sure which way it is, just turn it and see which way the actual machine head, which is this, is going. And so I'm twisting. Now then, I need to make sure, not used to having a camera on us here, that it's going into the groove there on the nut of the guitar. And it's obviously not tight enough. So go like that, which way is that? Yeah, it's tightening it there. And go around that way. Let's have a play of it. Still quite a way to go. You can hear that? Now if you imagine if you're going like that, if you're just going like that, oh, it takes flipping ages. But if you can use a string winder, all the better. Let's make sure that's in this. Got that. Right. It's getting there. Once you get really close, you don't need the string winder, because, and I know. Now you might find, if I look along this bit, that the peg starts to come out, and I want you to push that back in there. So push it back in. Okay, and make sure it doesn't come out. Sometimes they come out and they're popping out and you're like, oh my word. And then other times they're just fine, they're just like, no, I'm fine to stay in here. Okay. So I've got last string 1. Too high. So string 1. Okay, and then we're good to go. See? I usually play a G because I can hear all the strings working well together. Now for this bit, on these, I'll probably put a link, actually, an Amazon affiliate link in the description, just to kind of point in the right direction of these. I just think these are great because they're not, you can just get ones that are just string winders, but I just think when you've got everything in one, everything in a oneer, that's good. Now go quite close and just snips. You can use scissors, but I think these are just, and that, you know, they're not sharp, and they just do the job, and they're brilliant. Okay, so there we go, and that is. Now I'm going to change all these strings in a minute. I'm actually going to take these all off and do them in a minute. But what I wanted to show you was, so if we look here, like I've said before, so these ones are going up and around like that. These ones are going up and around like that. So obviously this side, you twist different to that side. Now, for example, on the electric here though, they are all going up that way and going along that way and twisting that way. Now if you notice, you've got these metal things here. these certain strings, so these two need to go underneath here, and these two need to go underneath here. And that's what you need to make sure. Now what happens on an electric guitar is, you have these things called saddles. If we turn this over, now then, this is where you feed your strings into, okay? You feed your strings into the back of there. Now make sure that your old string is not, the ball of it, that kind of loopy ball thing, has not got stuck in it, and they can be a real pain to get out, but you'll get them out. You sometimes have to poke a bit of string in just to kind of get them out again, but you will get them out. And just generally, that's, so you've just got to twist them the one way, can't even speak. And for these ones, obviously one way for that way, another for that. So just make sure you've got them on, and make sure the pegs don't come out. I hope that was helpful. That was like a whistle stop tour of how to change the string. You don't need to watch me change the whole string. So that's brilliant. So if you've got any questions, ask me in the comments below. And just if you haven't already, please can you like and subscribe. Okay, so until next time, I will see you later, and happy string changing.